Welcome back, everybody, to another JMS Talks Comics, and here we got it. We have it, everybody. We're so excited. The Cats are back. Wildcats are back. That's right. The covert action team is back for another. It's not covert action team anymore. Oh, well, that's disappointing. So let's talk about this. Wildcats have traded in their iconic covert action team name for a new one. So now C.A.T.S, C.A.T.S, is going to stand for Crisis Aversion Tactical Squad. That's right. The geniuses over at DC Comics and those they're handling the reboot of the Wildcats WildStorm property has changed the name from Covert Action Team to Crisis Aversion Tactical Squad. Now, you might say that the Covert Action Team was cheesy. And that's why I hear people say that, right? And the reason why they wanted to update it, because it just made no sense. Well, it rolled off the tongue way better than the Wild Crisis Aversion Tactical Squad. I mean, think about that. You have to, so it's still Wildcats. Yes, it's still Wildcats. That's all that really matters. The name doesn't really change as far as that goes. But when you break it down, I mean, because nobody called it the Covert Action Team. That's just what it stood for, and we all understood that. But it was just Wildcats. But still, I mean, when you break this down now, and Cats is standing for Crisis Aversion Tactical Squad. Oh, I don't understand these people. And it's just another disrespect in my mind to these iconic characters of the 90s. And I know there are some people out there that love to get up in the comment section. And I invite the conversation. Absolutely. Come on in with your difference of opinions. I appreciate those opinions, even though they are wrong. But they want to come in here and be like, oh, this is the new Wildcats. You know, like WildStorm was this or that after it was bought, blah, blah, blah. And I get that. We're not going to ever get the Wildcats of the 90s back. And that's pretty apparent. But I've had conversations with people on like the WildStorm group on Facebook. And there's a few people that seem to be very excited for this crap. And I say that in the most loving way possible. But they're like, hey, if this sells really well, you know, maybe they'll give us more, you know, and that's just like, okay, well, do you want more of absolute dog shit? Is that what you want more of? You want more of these characters being misrepresented? Because yeah, if that's the case, and I hope these issues sell 1 million copies, because then we're going to just get more of this dog shit heaped at us at the LCSs. So, I mean, congratulations, I guess, as far as that goes. But honestly, if you want the real Wildcats, just go back and read the back issues. This is garbage. This is going to be garbage. That is just, you know, the only good thing about this is the Brett Booth cover that they're doing. And I did see a really cool stamped foil edition of that cover coming out. So I will be purchasing that. I will not be reading it, but I will get it because I will support most anything Brett Booth. There we go, though. Wildcats is now the Wild Crisis Aversion Tactical Squad. I bet somebody sat around a table, and probably like 4 or 5 of these people sat around the table. It probably took them hours, right? Like, what do we change Cats into that sounds cool to us and fits DC Comics from today? And somebody at some point settled on Crisis Aversion Tactical Squad, and they're like, "That's it, let's do it." And they all celebrated and gave themselves high fives and jerked each other off or something. I don't know. They did something like that, is all I'm saying. But you have DC Comics is reviving Wildcats #1, created by its publisher Jim Lee 30 years ago. Jim Lee, who no longer cares about these characters. Now, I'm not talking shit about Jim Lee. I respect Jim Lee. I love his art. He will always be one of my favorite artists. Going back to the 90s, one of the guys that inspired me to want to draw as a kid. I met him in person once, got some things signed. He was a very nice man. And he's done great for himself, great businessman. Anybody who wants to come at me with the fact that he sold the company was a great move. For him, it was a great move. for him, his lifestyle, for his family, great move. I will never take that away from anybody for improving your lot in life when it comes to security and money and all that stuff. You know, so kudos to you, Jim. You did what you had to do to get where you wanted to go in life. That's great. But it is very apparent that you don't care about your characters. Image Comics was a revolution when it started in 1992, along with the rest of your Image founders. And you created some awesome characters and awesome books. WildStorm was arguably the best studio or company within Image Comics. I think they sold, or they had the most titles per month. I think then followed by Extreme Studios. It was something like that. It was either one or two or whatever, but they produced some of the most titles in Image, and they had great titles. Wildcats, Stormwatch, Backlash, Gen 13, obviously Team 7. You know, the list goes on with the books that they put out, and they're all very good. And you would think that somebody that created something like that would have pride in the fact that you created this universe, you created this company of characters, and you would want to see them done correctly. But when Jim ultimately sold his company to DC, those characters really took a back seat. And yeah, WildStorm continued to produce comics after that, and in my mind, they were still inferior. They were still less. I didn't like the way the certain story arcs and directions and writers took the characters back then. Okay, so this isn't just me hating on DC, the new DC stuff the Wildcats is doing, or any of the WildStorm characters are doing. Like, I had a problem with WildStorm after the sale as well. But I'm just, it's very apparent right now that Jim Lee does not care about these characters. And this change right here, the Wild Crisis Aversion Tactical Squad, it is just more evidence. Like, you know, there was nothing wrong with Covert Action Team. It wasn't. You know? So, anyway, when it was at Image Comics before DC Comics bought his publishing imprint, WildStorm, then the Wildcats stood for Covert Action Teams, which didn't really justify its final full stop or period. That has now changed with the series coming from Matthew Rosenberg and Steven House ads in DC Comics titles have revealed that it will now stand for Crisis Aversion Tactical Squad. Given the amount of crises that DC Universe goes through, that might be quite handy. That's dumb. It's just dumb. It's stupid. You know, like, it's just trying to force fit this team into the DC Universe. And if that is the case, because of the whole crisis thing, you know, that's so prevalent in the DC Comics universe, to me, that's just, it's stupid. It's stupid when you have a fact that their main opponent in the first couple issues are going to be the Court of Owls. The Court of Owls. Wildcats would absolutely destroy the Court of Owls in 2 seconds. Like, it's not even an opponent that you would give them. Plus, you know, their rich history and everything that they do. Why not just dive back into that world? That and this art is less than inspiring. Yes, I think somebody told me that this is the artist is also doing what? The Scorched or King Spawn over there for Todd McFarlane. That doesn't change the fact that this art is uninspiring for a WildStorm book, and especially for Wildcats, especially when you got guys like Brett Booth out there that would gladly have drawn this book. And even if he did, the art would have been amazing. The story would still have sucked. I would have still been upset, but I would at least have bought it because of Brett Booth, because I would support Brett Booth. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We, you know, breakdown of Wildcats 1. We've talked about that 100 times. It's been talked to death. I mean, that's cool. I like that image right there, because it's a cool image. But it's just the concept of pitting the Wildcats against the Court of Owls. I mean, yeah, I don't get it. I don't get that. I really don't. And then, you know, just a breakdown of the issues here. Looks like the 7 soldiers of victory are here to save the day. Wait, what? Oh my God, I hate that. I hate the writing in this. This is like 14-year-old girl writing, talking about this. Anyway, again, not doing the characters justice. And I'm going to be honest about it. You know, I'm going to say my opinion, because I share the opinion with a lot of original WildStorm collectors and readers back in the day. There were some special characters, special books back then, and what they're doing now is horrendous. And so it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Mark my words. It's not going to work. Financially, it's going to fail. The numbers are not going to move the way they want to. And these titles, I think, are only miniseries anyway. They're limited series. How about that? I think they're just limited series. These are not ongoing series, so they can justify canceling the series when it does bad. And they can always say, like, oh, it's always going to be a limited run. Well, what's the point then? What's the point of introducing them into the DC universe if you're not going to keep them around? I mean, this is a pretty powerful team with legacy characters, in my opinion, going back to the 90s, of course, but with a history all of their own that could absolutely spark sales and get people excited about comics again if you did it right, if you had the right writing team, if you had the right artist on board, and if you treated these characters the way they should be treated. So, all right, guys, with that, I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate you checking out this video. If you like the content, please hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell for notification, become a member of the channel. And again, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll go back and forth with you in the comments. You know, we'll keep it civil. We'll keep it civil. I'm not all about fighting, but you know, if you have a difference of opinion, I will definitely talk to you about it in the comments. I have no problem with that. You know, this is my opinion. Doesn't mean you have to think the way I do. Although the world would be a better place if you did. All right, I'll talk to you all later. Peace. Hey everybody, before you go, did you know I have my own comic book called Reaper Destroyer on Indiegogo now? It's an action sci-fi adventure that captures everything about the dark heroes of the 90s that we love, but with a modern day twist. And if you haven't yet, please consider backing today. There's a link in the description below, and I will talk to you all later.